Well, I was born in Yorkshire and brought up in London, where I went to school. I was taught English by Count Nikolai Tolstoy and history by Professor Arthur Marwick. And I joined the army as three momentous events shaped the world. The first was the overthrow of the Shah of Iran by the Islamic Revolution in Iran. The second was the signature of President Sadat of Egypt in a peace treaty with Prime Minister Begin of Israel. And the third was the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan. And it's extraordinary that 30 years later, at the beginning of the Arab Spring, these countries were still at the forefront of the world's global security problems. I was a member of the Middle East Peace Process Working Group on Arms Control and Security Cooperation in 2011. And that's how I got involved in Libyan affairs and was appointed as the senior British military commander in Libya just before Colonel Gadhafi was captured and killed in October 2011. Well, there were three sources for this book. The first was when I arrived in Tripoli, I was handed a sketchy brief about British relations with Libya. And as I traveled around the country, I very quickly realized that there were huge gaps which I determined to fill. And so over the past 10 years, I've researched the Anglo-Libyan relationship in depth and enjoyed it very much. The second inspiration is the remarkable country itself. It's the 16th largest country in the world. Tripoli, its capital, is closer to London than Athens is. It's got the most beautiful beaches, rugged mountains, the awesome Sahara. So the geography of it is absolutely stunning. And then the people are polite, respectful, family orientated. They're delightful to sit and talk and spend time with. And yet at the same time, the country has got this terrible reputation, which is preventing people from visiting it, and the security situation there plays a large part in it. So it is important that we remember that Libya will come out of the cold, and when it does, it will be a fantastic place for people to visit. It should be on everyone's wish list, although I understand that that's not possible at the moment. And the third inspiration was my visit to Tobruk, where I visited the Commonwealth War cemeteries for the siege and the Battle of Gazala. There are almost 10,000 Allied soldiers, sailors, and airmen who are buried in Libya in the 4 Commonwealth War cemeteries, most of them around Tobruk. And I felt that I needed to pay tribute to them and to the 9 winners of the Victoria Cross who were awarded the highest gallantry medal, 5 of them posthumous, for their deeds in Libya in the Second World War. And I felt a proper tribute needed to be made, as we tend to forget what those people did to create the freedoms that we enjoy today. So part of my remit was to update our British maps and charts after the revolution. So I travelled widely in the country and met 1,000 Libyans who were very willing to tell me about their country and the depth of friendship with Britain which they share. And if I had a pound for every Libyan who told me their uncle or father fought with the British at Tobruk, then I might have been able to buy an oil well in the Sahara. I think the old adage, history is geography spread over time, is important here. And I was fortunate enough to be able to have that experience in Libya, which inspired so much of my writing. probably the fact that I identified the mistakes made by the international community in 2012, which led to the current chaos and the civil war, which really started in 2014, and that I make proposals to resolve the crisis and rebuild the country. I'd also add that this is the first book to lay out the deep connection that links the unique British relationship with Libya over the past 250 years. Lots has been written about the Western Desert campaigns, the archaeological sites, Colonel Gadhafi, Lockerbie, and PC Yvonne Fletcher, but no one before has connected them all together in a coherent story. Well, I'm a great believer that the past should be used to improve the future, not to deepen divisions. Britain twice helped Libya to throw off the shackles of brutal regimes and is the best place to help the current protagonists resolve the conflict. But we need to know what worked well before and what didn't. So this book is designed for anyone interested in conflict resolution. But there's something in it for everyone. And it's readable for the lay reader as much as the student of international relations. For example, the stories of filming in the desert in the 1950s, where there were blockbusters such as Ice Cold in Alex, filmed near Sabratha, provides a nice counterpoint to the political and international relations stories.